Hi, I'm Thomas of Meaningful Gigs, and welcome back to Heroes of the Creative Revolution. In this episode, I speak with design ops expert Patrizia Bertini about effective change management. She talks about design thinking's role in change management, where managing change can go wrong, the importance of running experiments, and much, much more. Let's dive in. Hi, Patrizia. Thanks for coming on the show today. It's a pleasure to have you as a guest. Let's just start simple and love to get some information about your background.
Hi, Thomas. Thank you for having me today. So my background, it's probably non-linear in the sense that my master's degree was in Finno-Ugric philology. And then I moved into design, especially into usability and accessibility. And I've been doing usability and accessibility back in Italy for roughly 10 years. So wrote books, tried to disseminate an inclusive design culture for a lot of time. Then I decided to change and twist things. So I moved to London to do a PhD at the London School of Economics on privacy and data quality. And after that, I just started exploring more the research domain, so setting up research practices in consultancies and then in product orgs, digital product organizations. And this is how I started becoming obsessed with efficiency. You know, if you think that time is the only non-renewable resource we have, whenever I had to plan my team's workload, my biggest question was, how can I make sure we deliver on the biggest projects with the least amount of effort? We work smart and not hard. And that's how I started then my journey in design operations. First at Intuit, and then I moved around both scale-ups, startups, and today leading the DesignOps practice at A by A, a US company in the telecommunication voice contact center space.
So I'm curious, what do you think design thinking's role is in effective change management?
I mean, you can't have change if you don't think and focus on the people, on the problem to solve, and what is the best way to solve for a problem. So if you start thinking, what is design thinking? Design thinking is a problem-solving approach. And it's a technique to make sure we explore opportunities within a problem space, and we assess the problem space from different points of view. It always starts with empathy. So this is exactly the approach you need to have when you do change management. I mean, you can't drive or plan a transformation in an organization if you are locked in a black box in a room and you ignore how people feel. Because in change management, what we do is changing people's behaviors, is changing how people do things and how they feel about their life, their work, and what they're accomplishing. So if you think about step one is understanding, do we need to change? Are people feeling the pain? Because a lot of times what happens is change happen and you forget that you're not changing a process, but you're changing how people live and enact that process. So, and once you have understood how people experience the reality, what are the pain points, you need to start thinking about what is the right way to introduce the change for these people and to tackle the issues that they are facing. And this is where in design thinking, in the double diamond, you start going broad. You start exploring what are the options and the ideas. And then you start coming up with hypotheses, which you can validate by talking with the team, by engaging with the leaders, by running small experiments just to see, hey, what if you try to do the same task in this way next time? So you tell me, is it easier? Is it better? What is your experience? And you just do it iteratively, because change management is not about big announcements. It's not about coming up with a solution, especially if the team doesn't know and doesn't understand that there's a problem. I mean, the biggest mistake that a lot of organizations and people that drives change forget is that you need to have consensus on the problem. And again, we go back to design thinking. So in a way, we can say that design thinking at change management is a process of design thinking. I mean, it's based on the same levels. Especially, I don't know how familiar you are with change management frameworks, but I always refer to one of the oldest one because it's simple and it's effective. It's Lewin's model from the 40s, so it's 80 years old. And it says we have a phase one in change management, where is that we want to unfreeze, create the conditions for change. And those conditions are making sure there's an agreement on the problem, making sure we understand the problem, making sure people agrees we have the problem and that we need to solve for it. At that point, you have the change, which is bringing on something new that transforms how people work, that enable people to try out new things. And then you freeze it, you consolidate, you get an agreement that this is our new ways of working, and you celebrate it. And unfreeze, change, freeze, it's again empathy, go broad, go narrow, experiment, validate, and deliver.
In the instances where you do see change managed incorrectly, how do you see it going wrong, and where does it typically go wrong?
As I said, one of the biggest mistakes is forgetting that you are changing people's experiences and people's lives. So the biggest mistake that happens very frequently is having no clue for months, and then one day someone sends an email or there's a big meeting where, hey, from today, this is how we work. And you will see a huge level of rejection, because why? I haven't been asked if I felt the pain. I haven't been asked my opinion. If it's not broken, don't change it. No matter how some processes can be painful, but still people will try to use the habits and the workaround that they have created. So, hey, I know how to manage the process and how to do things. Why do you want me to do something else? And you will have a huge pushback in general, and adoption will be very slow, because the moment that you exclude people from the process, you are just undermining and literally shooting yourself in the foot, because people want to be involved. They want to be able to give feedback. So it's very, very time consuming and a lot of effort to manage the change so that you have everything working for you. So it's very important to make sure you have the buy-in from the people that you want to engage with and change. And that's probably the biggest mistake. And the other one that I've seen quite often is literally, again, not getting feedback, not asking for feedback, and not accepting comments. So, I mean, even if a process is being made in silos, because, hey, sometimes you have situations, whatever it is, but leaving the door open and being humble in assessing that, hey, we needed to rush things, but we still want to make sure we listen to you, because if people are not being able to participate in change, they will reject it. It's how we are. We are lazy. We hate changing things unless we are giving a good motivation that, hey, actually, this is benefiting me. I mean, it's not because the new manager, VP, director wants to look good in the organization that we are doing this. This is actually helping me to work better, deliver faster, reduce the time that I spend doing some tasks. So The moment when we can really see and sell the benefits of change, this is when we have change. And it's about listening at the beginning or after, but always making sure change is owned by everyone. And it's not something that it's literally thrown and pulled at people because, hey, we just need to prove we have a reason to exist in this organization and we need to change everything every time.
So, what was the most impactful change that you've enacted for a design team, and how did you go about making that shift?
Well, it always depends. Every design team is beautifully unique, which means it's always about understanding what are the pains. And I have a very experimentational mindset. So for me, change means literally starting and saying, let's do an experiment. So after we agree that we understand what are the pains, we come up with ideas, then we start running experiments. So one of the changes that I've been driving most frequently is how the design team works with the product organization. So very often, let's say the sync and the engagement models between design and product, it's a little bit unbalanced or not clarified or not clear enough. So we may have PMs asking designers to do something, designers not always being able to understand the big picture. The planning sometimes doesn't always take into account how the design capacity and the design ability to structure and to deliver, or how many people are on holiday, for instance, so that you need to do some planning. So a lot of times this planning and the road mapping is done in silos. So I would say in the past 3 organizations, so I'm in my 3rd iteration of this experiment in different organizations, in different industries. It's about creating a workflow where we partner with product organizations to better understand what are the needs for the next quarter or unit of time, could be 2 quarters, depending on the organization, and creating a model for assessing the capacity of the team in real time, assessing the need and the effort required, creating a shared prioritization model, dependency analysis, so that we can look at what is the plan and we can ensure that we literally focus on where the biggest wins are for the organization. So this means not that I make big announcements, I never do. I just started, these experiments start with always asking PMs to gently test out a nice form where I will be collecting what are you planning to deliver next quarter? What are the dependencies you see? What type of deliverables or design skills do you think you need? What is the problem you're solving from a customer point of view and from a business point of view? And then it's about getting one PM to do this, the second one, the third one, collecting data, and then reviewing with the design leadership. Hey, we need 100 working days of a researcher this quarter. We only have 50. How do we look at the projects? Let's look at which are the projects that have biggest dependency. Oh, this has a lot of dependency, so we can maybe deprioritize because we have less confidence in that project. And this is how you drive change, because then you allocate resources to the PMs that worked on the experiment, and they will have those resources for themselves, and they will be able to deliver a higher percentage of what they do. So in most organizations I've been, the average delivery used to be 20% of the roadmap as planned, which means that the rest of the projects are late, deleted, dropped, or added. So if you think about the waste that causes, it's huge. And also it causes long hours to the team. So those are massive transformation, and they take literally months, a couple of quarters at least, to stabilize the process, and then you get it running. So because change takes time, and it's always a process, and it's always in making, and it needs to have all the right partners. So it's always critical to have the right people with you that support you, because change is never one person, it's a team effort. Everything is always a team effort. So that's one of the largest transformations. But I have also nice and tiny little wins, if you like, when, I'm a big fan of data-driven design. And we started this conversation talking about design thinking. Now, design thinking is wonderful, but very qualitative in nature. So we've been seeing some tensions between PMs and designers, because while designers were talking empathy, my persona, Joe, he loves this, I had PM saying, yes, I don't mind which part of the journey John loves, but we need to change it because our product analytics tells that we have issues there. So in that case, I created an academy with subject matter experts and worked with the vendors to educate designers on using data together with design thinking, which actually made clear to them how they can partner better with PMs. So again, it's a process. It's about finding out how people can behave to have more advantage for themselves.
How are you currently using AI in your role now, or what plans do you have for AI in the future?
I'm not using AI yet, but I see huge potential. I mean, a lot of processes are just boring and manual. Automations and the ability to look at how we can streamline, automatize a lot of manual checks, a lot of inefficiencies in the workflows. It's absolutely great. So if you think about tools that can help you to streamline, automatize tasks, I mean, that's already great. And I mean, the potentials here are huge, because I think that it will make things way much more funnier, in the sense that as a human, you are creative. You think by analogies. You think about problems in a lateral way. So having some pre-digested data, an artificial intelligence that assesses the workflow and spits out all the nice metrics that tell you what is the time to deliver, what is the effort, what are the bottlenecks, what are the issues in the design process, and what are the opportunities. It's absolutely phenomenal. But you need then to take those data and think out of the box. And this is where I see artificial intelligence as a huge partner that solves on the analysis problem, enabling the human. I mean, I'm a big fan of wetware. Enables the human to come up with solutions that deliver value, because I still believe that human brains are wonderful because their logic is not linear, and we can come up with crazy ideas that hopefully an artificial intelligence and a machine that sticks to some kind of deductive or inductive logic can't come up with. And this is where we will see the differentiation between the smartest consultant or designers, design ops people, and the one that executes on artificial intelligence.
With your wisdom now, what advice would you give your younger self, or perhaps someone else starting now along the design ops career path?
I'll just keep experimenting and learning by mistake. I mean, mistakes are our source of wisdom, because if we can learn from them, we have an endless richness. So it's my advice would be brave, try out things, and if they don't work, try out something else, and make sure you learn from that experience, so that you can make a new mistake and learn something new.
What's the most fun you've had in your current role or any design ops role?
I always have fun because, transforming the organization, being able to elevate designers and making sure you see the impact of your work is great. So I love when I can come in and measure, hey, we increased the speed of delivery by 40%. Hey guys, you may not realize it, but in one case, by introducing research recruiter, we ended up over 2 years adding the equivalent of 4 full-time employees in terms of time. So what we did, we did innovation, and we talked about ambidexterity. We really pushed and were able to do real product innovation. People may not realize it, but it happens because you take away a lot of the business as usual inefficiencies that eats up time. So I would say when we had a big breakthrough in a product, just because we created the conditions, the time and the headspace in delivering a new feature in the product, and it was because design operations. But then I work on a lot of fun projects. Christmas parties. Yes, it's nearly Christmas, so I just go crazy in inventing ways of engaging with the teams and making sure we are all feel the festive atmosphere as a team, rather than just people scattered in the same room or virtual room, because we work together.
Who else in the design and design ops community do you draw inspiration from and admire?
There are so many. That's the thing. So you already talked to Basel. There's Jose Coronado. He's awesome. There is Farid Sabitov. He is with all his maturity models. He's awesome. We often have issues and debates, but it's great because we learn from each other. Z from Flair, it's also wonderful. Dominique from Atlassian, she shares so much. John Fukuda from Limina, he is also one of the guys that really push the discipline. So I think it's a really great environment to be, because there are so many great people. And I know I forgot Jackie Jux. She is also wonderful. There's so many wonderful people, and the thing is we all share this pioneeristic, explorative mindset. We're all there to learn, so it's great because we keep sharing learnings and learning from each other. So it's very hard to pin one because, well, there's too many and too good.
So that was my last question. Is there anything else you wanted to say or plug as we finish up?
No, I will say it's just great that we are talking design operations, and we appreciate talking about change management, because ultimately design operations is change management. To improve the operations and to create an operational strategy for the design team, you need to change how teams work. So I'm glad, and I hope more people will start understanding that design operations is not project management, it's not program management, it's design thinking, system thinking, and change management, problem solving on steroids. So thank you for the opportunity.